Meike 25mm f2. I just wanted to do a really quick review on this lens because I feel like this is one of the best bang for buck lenses that you can get for the Micro Four Thirds or Sony E-mount system. And yeah, I just kind of want to talk about some of the things that I like about it and a couple of the drawbacks, but honestly, I'm gonna go easy on this lens when it comes to the drawbacks because of how cheap it is. I bought this lens for $130 brand new, and I think when it first was released, it was around $260 or something like that. And then it went down to $189, and now it's gone down to $129. So 130 bucks for a 25mm f2. It's really hard to find a lens that's like built really well, sharp, relatively fast, and then also inexpensive, but this lens definitely fits the bill if that's what you're looking for. So let's talk about the cons of this lens real quick, and honestly there aren't a lot, which is pretty cool considering how cheap this lens is. This lens loses a lot of contrast and image quality whenever you're shooting towards a pretty bright source of light. For instance, if I pointed a light right here, you can see that it flares kind of not so great, and it starts to lose a lot of contrast whenever you have a really bright source of light pointed right at it. But that's not really gonna be a huge issue for most of us. I don't know about you, but like I don't typically point my camera towards the sun. That's just not something I do. So if you are in a situation where you have a lot of really harsh light sources coming straight into your lens, it could be kind of an issue for you, but I'm guessing most of you aren't going to be putting your camera into that kind of a situation very often. And this is the focal length that you can expect from this Meike lens. I have scooted just a little bit further away, but I'm still just far enough away from the camera that I can still manual focus on myself. And that's something that you'll have to know, is that like if you're trying to go further back so you can get your entire like upper half of your body in frame, you won't be close enough to manual focus on yourself. So it can be kind of hard with a lens like this. So just keep that in mind. But if you're going for like a closer, you know, tighter in shot, it can work just fine. And I mean, I don't even have focus peaking on my camera, but I punch in and I can focus myself pretty easily that way. So I put out a video recently where I rigged out my Panasonic GH3 with a cage and a monitor and everything. And I was using this lens as the lens that I was gonna recommend for people who are looking for an inexpensive prime lens. And this is the lens that I recommend now because of how cheap it is and how well it performs. This is a really sharp lens, and for 130 bucks, I don't think that you can find anything better than this lens for the Micro Four Thirds system. At f2, you can still get some decent low light performance and some pretty good background separation at f2 with this focal length. It's built super hefty and it feels really well built. It's got a clickless aperture and a really nice long focus throw, so you can get really precise manual focus. And that is one of the things that you're gonna have to know about a lens like this, is that there is no electronic connections. There's no autofocus. This is a manual focus lens. So you're gonna have to be pretty comfortable with doing manual focus. If you have a monitor that has focus peaking, or if your camera has focus peaking, I'd recommend using that. That's how I like to just, you know, make sure I'm hitting my focus properly. If you're using a Sony APS-C, you might be able to, you know, like reach out and manual focus yourself if you're using a lens like this. But for Micro Four Thirds, it gives you about a 50mm equivalent field of view. So that's just a little too far to focus yourself like and kind of get your entire head in frame. So this is more of like a lens that you would use if you're behind the camera and not necessarily in front of it, because trying to get your focus properly with a fully manual lens like this when you're filming YouTube videos is a little bit of a hassle. Overall, for 130 bucks, I really don't think that you can beat it. Well, obviously, there's gonna be a link to this lens in the description below if you wanna go check it out. Otherwise, I think that's all I have for you. There's videos and playlists right here that you can check out. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Later.